Well, this is Guns, Knives, and Watches, and one of my subscribers commented about his Gold Zero, and he uses and really likes it, prefers it over the Juice Orange, and I do too in a lot of different ways. There are a few ways that I don't, and let's kind of go over that. Of course, I've got the Gold Zero Sherpa 50, which is actually my battery bank, and also have the 110 adapter for it, inverter, converter, whatever, the USB and everything else. And of course this thing you can run 12 volt off of it or charge your laptop. Now the only problems with this is I'm going to get into some of the same things that I talked about the Juice Orange. This of course is not waterproof in any way, shape, form, or fashion. You actually have to treat it like it's a camera or a computer. Very easy to turn on, has a battery indicator light. It has these other lights. Where on the Juice Orange, it only has a couple LEDs and you have to be able to know how to read the LEDs. This one has a bunch of little LEDs and crap that you can't turn off, ever. It's also got this backlit screen, which is fine. You can turn that off. But unfortunately, this stuff always stays on. For something that's going for efficiency, that just irks me. One of the things I don't like about the little laptop deal is the fact that it's not compatible with a lot of current generation laptops. By I mean current generation, I mean something made within the last year. Their plugs and everything work with the previous generation, but unfortunately not the current. Unfortunately, I have a lot of very current technology. Now, another thing I don't really like about it is that damn LED. I don't see the need in having it because it doesn't help me see anything on the screen, which is I suppose what the LEDs are for, and I don't necessarily need it as a light. I know how a lot of people would, and I understand the Mormon philosophy and this, that, or the other, and of course this is a Mormon product through their corporate organization, through their creation, through everything. And I'm not going to get into the religion of it or how they dictate their philosophies on everyone in Utah or the Zion Curtain, but let's talk about basically what we have here. We have a Sherpa 50 with an inverter. I've gone through my other videos how you simply just remove the inverter. There's your battery, 12 volt, this, that, or the other. You have your USB adapter. I mainly use this because everything else, to use the 12 volt, takes some type of adapter. Now, this is the Nomad 13 panel. It's a pretty good size USB. It's a USB, man. Solar panel. I've spoken on the previous channel about the lack of quality in their manufacturing, sewing, this, that, or the other. Of course, they don't make any of this stuff in the United States. It's all made in China. But so is the Juice Orange, so it's pretty much an even trade. So you have to carry these type things, you know, just to be able to use it. Of course, you can charge stuff. You can do this, there, the other, da 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 da. And of course, these two are not the same connector, so you have to carry two of them if you want to have the most versatility with your kit. You know, is this the best setup? Let's get back to the Nomad. Let's ignore these for a second. Let's ignore the 12 volt deal. I mean, I've got a lot of wires here that are really long. This is for charging directly to a solar panel. This is an adapter from one to another type, another size, from male to female, da 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 da. You know, this is for one thing, this is for one thing, and these are all Gold Zero products. Do you think possibly, and then we have our USB, do you think possibly that we could have tried to integrate things a little bit better and a little bit more concise, clear and concise, instead of trying to make this a one-size-fits-all deal? You know, it's possible that we could have just more easily done it in such a way, and of course that plugs into there for the solar charging of the system through the solar panel. There just seems to be as though there was a lack of coherence. Now the current setup is a tremendous amount better than the previous setup, but as far as the Sherpa, the inverter, all of that type deal, as far as this is a perfect product right here that I'm holding in my hand, except for the fact that it's not water resistant and it's not really that dust resistant. You got a fan, you know, sucking stuff in, blowing stuff out, this, there, the other. So you need to keep this in a pretty sterile environment, especially if you're using the 110. The solar panel, you know, spoke about those, spoke about the parts of it. A lot of the solar panels that I've gotten have had sowing issues. Now, since I used to own a plant that's what they used to do is sow, and of course had issues just because we're trying to compete against Chinese manufacturers, and there was no actual willingness in the industry. See all these scratches and things? I don't know if that's showing up on film. Probably aren't. You're probably getting more of the reflection of stuff. But you can see these scratches here, these scratches down here. Let me try and get that on camera. Those scratches that are right here, see that? All that stuff, it came that way from the factory. This nicks right here, all of that just was already on that just plastic that covers it, you know, when I first got it. Where they could have done this a lot better. Of course, this is the Goal Zero Nomad, the Nomad 13M, and it was basically where I would start with the Goal Zero line. They've got other smaller setups, but this one actually works in such a time frame and has such a recovery rate, will actually give you enough power to where it works for me. I'd like to have a bigger setup, but this is the one I've got. Now I got this from Power Management, Power Custom, Power something or other. And if you look up Goal Zero on YouTube, and a guy has some videos and he'll tell you exactly where to buy the stuff. They have a lot of 20% off and 15% off. I would never ever go towards this stuff and pay retail. I'll give you another example of where they're trying to get old, antiquated type philosophy. It's like I work around a bunch of Amish and a bunch of Mennonites and this, that, or the other, and my version of high efficiency and LEED certification is something totally different than what they want to build and what they are used to building. So if I let them kind of build what they want to build, they build something that's an older technology. Well, their technology is good. It's just not applicable and not usable in my environment because I'm not, you know, using wood to heat something. I'm not using any of that type stuff. So I have to have a sealed up building that's almost as sealed as tight as I can get it. And then I, you know, clean the air basically. Well, this Goal Zero light is a prime example of that older technology because basically all they did was make an LED light. The previous generation basically just had a fluorescent light. But all they did was buy a fluorescent light and screw it into it and call it an LED, which it is LED. But there's a lot of different ways you could make this light if you really wanted to bring it up into, you know, 2000 and something other than just take the fluorescent light out of it and then buy an LED bulb and put it in it. Of course, these are very usable. We use them all the time. They're so big, heavy, and awkward that we don't use them for very much. That isn't car camping and then just emergency preparedness around the house, that type stuff. And of course, these link together. You can see I have this light plugged into this one. Of course, they have got cords with them. And they just plug into that little thing. And you can run a few of them off this thing, off the Sherpa 50. And as I said, the Sherpa 50 is an ideal product. The Goal Zero Nomad 13M is a really good product. I think they could have dealt with their wires and issues and a few other their engineering compatibility things, but they're trying to get old technology and new technology to merge, kind of like they did with that laptop thing, making an integrated wire where you have to buy it from them, and da 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 da. So it's basically just easier to use the inverter, convert that DC to AC, and then your loss of efficiency, just eat it if you need to run a laptop for a certain amount of time instead of running it directly off DC. Same thing with the lights. They're great products. I like them, use them a lot, but I wouldn't, I couldn't use them if I wasn't car camping or wasn't using them around the house or something like that. In a backpacking situation, I'll give you a comparison of it to my hand. They're big. So that's basically what you're talking about. Anyway, this is the Goal Zero Nomad 50, or Sherpa 50, which is a great product, and the inverter. I wish it was more resistant to the environment, but it's just the way it is. As I said, they're trying to get older technology, i.e. fan cooled, da 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 da. They're taking more of the computer type, laptop type setup, but this is a tremendous amount better than the previous one, the Nomad 13, and then the lights. As I said, I'm not subservient to the industry. I'm not subservient to any manufacturer, and if I have a problem with something, I'm going to tell you about it. Now, is it not something, if it's something I wouldn't recommend buying? No, it's a good product. It's just like the juice orange. You have to understand the limitations. It's not a one-size-fits-all product. It's not for everyone. It's not for this. It's not for that. The juice orange is great. It's waterproof. It's this. It's that. Just don't move it when you're using it. When you got a cord attached to it, unless you're charging it, it's great. But when you have it charging something else, you can beat the hell out of it when it's just using solar power. You strap it to your back and let it be charging and this, that, or the other. Just don't plug your phone up to it, because that movement of that wire and that cable is going to screw it up. I guarantee it. And the way I hike, because a lot of times I'll run down hills, I'll do things like that because I'm used to, time being an issue, this, that, or the other. It's just, it's not applicable to my environment. So if I'm charging a phone off of it, I need to have it in a stationary environment to where I'm not going to use the cords. Well, this one, you don't have it in water. Limit the amount of dust you have this attached to, the Sherpa 50. This you can do anything with. Rock and roll, party on. The lights, they're pretty much, they stand for themselves, this, that, or the other. They're pretty resistant to everything. Just, be aware of that. This works, this works. Or if you're okay with the size and weight of the lights, you're good. Is anyone going to come up with a better product? Yes, I guarantee it. In fact, I know they are. But for right now, this is 2013, the end of 2013, the beginning of 2014. This is what we have in the industry. This is what we will have for quite a bit of time. And it's a great product. You just have to understand its limitations. This is Guns, Knives, Watches, and have a good one.